Okay, welcome to the June competition. Things are slowing down a little bit for the summer. We have, I forget what the total was, but less than usual. Anyway, tonight the category is open, so anything that was shot in the last 2 years was eligible for this competition. And we'll start off with the basic group. I want to welcome and thank our judges, Nick Grossman, Pat Smith, and Gene Thomas. They're repeat offenders and
Repeat outing people too.
we really appreciate them doing this and giving us their time and sharing their expertise because it's really important and it's fun. So starting off with the basic group, we have, I think, 8 images. So there will be only 2 awards because we award to 25%. So we'll go through these quickly, and then we'll go through them again so that the judges can make their comments. Need to
Sharing the screen.
Okay. Yield path. Dockside. Wahweep 2021. Possible to get this stuff off here. Pride of Barbados butterfly. Japanese maple. And opposites. All right. See if I can get this bar off of our.
You can go more, I think, and it has a high. And it's high floating controls.
Excellent. That one.
Thank you. Okay, and then so next time I hit escape, it's going to come back again, but okay. Because I got to hit escape just to get back to that. It works for 2 different programs. Oh, I know. I'll put the.
Put it down the bottom and drag it down.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
High floating media controls.
Control. Shift at the bottom.
Okay, so now we'll go through them again with the judges' comments. So first one is reaching for the light, and that will be Nick Grossman.
Okay. Hopefully people can hear me. Microphones tend to make you sound a bit British, I'm afraid. I really like the idea behind this, and the sharp shot of the red flower and the stamen are very nice to see. The diagonal background works well. It's a good choice as opposed to a horizontal line. I wonder if a little more side light on the flower maybe to bring out a bit more detail in the petals would say take this to the next level. I'm a bit confused and distracted by what it is behind the flower. At first I thought it was a bottle or maybe a house with a chimney, but I'm a bit distracted by it, particularly by the additional clarity right at the top. And I wonder whether that ought to be backed out a little bit. But a nice idea. Well done.
Okay. Next is bolted wood joint.
I like this because It's showing, yeah, they're trying to make this fence last longer with that bolt there. And I like that. That's probably what drew this photographer to take this photo. It's just not the one that came with the original fence. So it's kind of showing this patch job. I think the use of the tones of colors, the lighting is really good. Only thing, and I like, the plants kind of intertwined in there. And kind of anything that's super black, which is nice. But what I do notice is there's the only thing I can think of is the brightness. There's that bright on the right, especially, that's kind of distracting. But yet again, it creates that contrast. So, that's the only thing I can think of for this one. I really like it. It's just, you might want to tone down that highlight just a little bit, or you might not. Either way is fine.
Okay. The old path. King.
All right, yeah, this is a cool photo. So this black and white photo, the image weighs heavy on my mind. And when I look at it, I wonder, where would that path lead me and what waits for me at the end of it? It's kind of bleak, a bit mysterious and intriguing. The leading line of the steps and the branches at the bottom, it pauses my eye, and then that tree says, hey, come follow me further. So it's kind of a very inviting photo with that long line to the vanishing point. The way that the image is processed in black and white and framed with that tattered border really makes me think ancient forest, old photographs. So that meshes well with the title and the style. As for improvement, there's not too much to say, except for some minor adjustments. I'd say something like, consider toning down that foreground bright white rock and make it blend in a little bit more. Also, maybe a few bright branches on the outer right of the frame, about halfway down. They direct my eye away from following the path down to the end. But overall, an excellent image of some gnarly trees and a really cool path.
You're so artistic with your words.
Yeah.
I just I'm gonna fluff mine up more.
Go for it.
That's full on. If you want full on, that is me. That is full on.
Okay, next, dockside.
That's me again.
Okay.
Fishing boats at night tend to make great subjects, and this one equally does. There's either lots of colour or there's interesting detail, and this has got a fair bit of the latter in it. I like the clean lines of the mast and the rigging. They stand out very nicely against the dark sky. For me, the centre of attention is that netting hanging down from the rigging with a little bit of colour in it. Although it would be nice if maybe that was a little bit more dominant, maybe a little bit more clarity in it or something. That's my place in my notes. I suggest toning down the brightness on the upper parts of the diagonals, which look a little bit blown out. I'd also point out those horizontal cables leading away from the light, because I find those quite distracting, and I don't think they add anything. You might also think about removing that green light over on the right-hand side, but nice image. I like dockside images. Well done.
Okay. Next is Raw Week 2021.
I love mountains and water, so I love this photo. It looks much better here than on my laptop. Apparently, I need to calibrate. And it was a little too purple, so my feedback online is I'm gonna have to change it. It's not relevant. So I was curious whether the photographer wanted pictures of the mountains, the water, the boats, or the whole scene. It looks like the whole scene here. So, because there's a lot of sky, I just don't know if they want to show the boats, maybe want to raise it up a little bit so that you see more of the boats and less sky, because the sky's not that intriguing or exciting. the colors look really good on here. Online I mentioned that you might want to remove the haze in that second range or that second row of mountains. Some people like to do that, some people don't, because our eyes actually do see the haze in reality, but it doesn't look that hazy here. Again, I need to calibrate my laptop. And I like the, it looks like it was taken sunrise or sunset or close to it. It looks like more like blue light on the image I was looking at. So it looks like maybe this, I don't know what time of day this was taken. So it's showing a really good view of everything here. I might crop out like the left side of it because that bottom left is for me is a little distracting, and it doesn't, just a little bit, maybe up to the end of that first mountain, that brown mountain. But I mean, overall, I mean, I enjoy this kind of photo. Yeah, so if the photographer's here, please ignore my online comments. I'll see if I can edit them. But I think the coloring looks actually really good here, so.
Lake has dropped 35 feet since last year.
Which lake is it?
Mead.
Oh, this is Mead?
No.
Oh,
Lake
Powell,
Powell.
Powell.
I say Lake Mead, they're running bodies.
yeah.
Amstad's
Barrels.
about the same.
Okay, next is Pride of Barbados butterfly.
All right, that's me. Wow, this is a brilliantly colorful monarch butterfly. Actually, one of my favorite butterflies. It's captured just at the right moment when the insect is feeding on the nectar. And in particular, what I really liked was the arrangement of the antennas. The proboscis and the feet are so well done that there's good separation without any mergers or any distractions with the legs, the feeding, and the antenna. So that is just great. My attention is drawn by the clear, sharp view of the eyes and the patterns in the wings. I kind of feel a sense of summer is here in the air, and kudos for finding a subject without tattered wings or missing scales. Each and every dot of white on its wings just pops out. Clarity in the tiny details of the flowers is very good, and the lighting on the subject is soft without harsh shadows or hot spots. And I like the way the butterfly's front foot is kind of pulling on that flower petal as if it's drinking from a bowl and tipping it. So in terms of improvement, I was thinking a bit on the background. I find if maybe it was darkened or blurred a bit more, it would contribute to the overall quality of the image. And maybe one minor point is where the leaf intersects with the butterfly's hind wing. And maybe having them separated will help keep the subject unobstructed, but overall, excellent, colorful image that engages the senses on many different levels.
It's like audio for children's books. It's just such a like.
Soothing.
Yeah. Well, that photo is kind of that way too. You can't say much.
Okay, moving on. Next is Japanese maple.
Okay. I think this is a great image. It's really nice. The shape of the maple branches spreading out left and right, and the red canopy just envelop the viewer, and it pulls you right into the frame. Particularly like the dappled light under the tree on the grass mound, which adds another dimension to the photo for me. The green moss, if that's what it is, on the bark is nice. So I wonder if the colours have been slightly oversaturated. The bushes behind the tree and the grass mound seem a little overemphasised, and they're a little distracting. I'd like to focus on that tree rather than those elements. So maybe just pulling the greens back a little bit would just jack this up to the next level. But really nice photo.
Okay. And last but not least in this group is opposites.
See, it is different from yours. Yours must be calibrated. Yours is darker. Okay, so I like this because the is a good eye to see the contrast between the sharp image and then the curvature on the other building or whatever that is. I think it's a building. I think that, having some clouds in the background is good.
No, I'm talking to Steve, he's checking all.
Okay, you're tapping me, so I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I think the clouds in the background are good because it adds more interest to the photo. And, for me, it's very monochromatic. Maybe that's the intent of it. And I think it's a really cool angle because even though the sides of that, sharp image are the same, it looks different because the angle, you see the rows of, we call it texture, is closer on the right than on the front part. I like upping my sky saturation. I may suggest to up just the blue a bit, but unfortunately, but just the sky, not like the whole thing. And it might seem, yeah, it depends on the way it looks on the screen. You might want to take the highlights and just bring them down a little bit. But I really like it. It's a very unique picture and it shows that that contrast very well.
All right.
Yeah, I think it was just separated. Yeah, good. Different photo. Amazing.
Okay. So
I can see both in the same view, that's why it helps.
we'll go to the composite results from the judges. As I said earlier, there are only 2 places being awarded in the basic group. And second place goes to Delaney Van for opposites. I don't think Delaney's here tonight. And first place goes to Delaney Van for Japanese maple.
She's kicked the intermediate.
She's gonna intermediate, yeah, I saw her point, she's way up there.
1-2 finish.
Yeah, very good. We also have People's Choice Awards
Yeah.
from the members at large. And here we'll have the usual 3 awards. Wait a minute. People's Choice. I think the results are similar. The silver goes to Delaney Van for opposites,
There you
and the gold goes to Delaney for
go. Same
Japanese
order.
maple.
That's nice. That doesn't happen often, does it, or does it?
No.
Okay, that's cool.
We got the right judges this time.
Yes.
It happens. It happens. I mean, it's usually, like podium finishes are usually podium finishes. They may not be in the same order, but it's pretty close.
Okay, so now we'll move on to the intermediate group. We have 19 images. And quick scan. I'm going to do this. Live floating meeting controls. And show images. Okay, showing off. The coast is clear. 32.9 cents a gallon. Forest flow. I think I'll slow this down just a little bit. Out on a limb. Spring has sprung in Texas. Plasma globe explosion. Frozen in time. It is frozen. There we go. Somebody's messing with me. Okay. This was the next one, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, floating high. Baby versus baby. Bad baby. Leaves of grass. My new home. Old Faithful winding down. Tiger in the flowers. Freezing rain. Sunset at the causeway. Pretty in pink. This one is.
It's adorable.
Okay, where's pretty?
The name of it.
Oh, but this is Penelope. And number 19 is Veropolis Tower 2. Okay. So we'll go back through them. See if I can do this without triggering the. Okay, first image is showing off, and that's Jean.
All right, this is a good photo of a heron in the water in an almost painterly like style. I like the diagonal line of the island because it adds interest and makes me kind of wonder, where will the bird fly next? I imagine the bird is sunning itself, trying to dry its wings or possibly keep its balance on that floating substrate. Whatever the bird is standing on, it is in very sharp focus. Texture of the water feels very calming to me with its soft color gradations, and I like that blue, yellow, blue sequence of colors. The yellow reflection on the water serves to highlight the subject very well. That blue bird against that yellow background makes for good contrast. What I really like is capturing this distraction-free image all around the bird. It's well done. And it's amazing to me that there aren't any turtle heads popping up or uninvited weeds in the water. In terms of subject improvement, possibly consider the face and the eye of the bird needing just a little bit more detail. I wish that the back wing didn't merge with the curve of the neck, but that's a very minor point. Overall, an excellent image capturing a heron in a very unique moment.
All right. The coast is clear.
Okay, that's me. I really like this shot, and well done to whoever shot it. It grabs the viewer's attention straight away and brings a smile to the face. Really sharp focus and detail on the two birds, where I particularly like the detail and the colours around the eyes. It would have been interesting to see the EXIF information, which wasn't present. There's a really good separation there between the foreground and the background and the subject. I can't find too much to criticise, actually, unless I want to be particularly silly and suggest a third bird would have added something. Well done.
We can give you the bird.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Nick. Next is 32.9 cents a gallon.
Yeah, 32.9 cents a gallon. Yeah, times how many now?
15.
More than that, yeah. So I love this. It's adorable. I love knowing what city that's in. It's just so clean, especially for an old station. It's very white and just clean. So I like the way it's situated. It's kind of interesting because it looks like it could be a photo from the past, like back then, because the car also, the old car in the photo. The only thing it gives away is that house back there in the back left. But I just think it's a gorgeous shot. Only thing I have, and a lot of bright colors, well, actually it's more dull on, some views. It's everything's lighter on this screen here. Normally I like to reduce highlights because my eyes are sensitive to light, but I like it here. It really stands out and it makes it pop. The thing is, and I know you can't control a lot of times your photos, the car. Part of me wants the car in front of those other pumps. But then again, if you're wanting to show golf in the pumps, then at least pull the car out so you see a little bit more of the car instead of it being cut into pieces like that. But it's adorable. It gives a little hint of the old times there, and I love it. It's a really cute shot. Is there a photographer here so I know what city that's in? Cute. Okay. Brings up memories. Almost got in an accident in the golf once. Okay.
All right.
Come on.
Next is forest flow. And we don't have comments on that one. Out on a limb. Spring has sprung in Texas. Kat, you're up.
Okay, I'm curious to know if the photographer's here, if this is a composite. Okay, at first, when I looked at this, I didn't realize it until later when I looked at the photo. Our brains notice when something is off. I don't know how, it's weird. And I had to look at it because I love it. It's a great shot. It's a butt shot of a bird. You don't see that very often. And it's a gorgeous bird. It's got the split tail, the wings are beautiful. It's in focus. I mean, and then the blue bonnets. It adds that pop of color. It's really gorgeous. It's a great composition. And when I look closer at it, it looks like it's a composite. It looks like the bird was added to it afterwards. Because there's some artifacts around the bird.
I think
That's sharpening
kind of
artifacts.
a nighttime 85 at 1.8D. I don't know what lens they use, but that distracting bokeh in the background where it looks just kind of artifacty.
Well, that's not artifacty. It's around the bird. If I look at the bird
But like you see how the wings blur
on the edges, yeah.
you see
But the thing is, I see the flowers in the foreground are in focus and the bird's in focus, which is back where the flowers are blurred. So that's why another indication. So if it is a composite, it's just composites are awesome. I use them, but you have to look out for shadow, lighting, and then of course focus. If the focus is different, then it's your brain kind of interprets that something's different about it. So I think it's a great, like I said, it's a beautiful shot. It's if that was actually captured that way, kudos to the photographer. And if it was a composite, kudos to the placement and everything. The composition is beautiful. It's just that I really don't know if it was one. Otherwise,
I doubt it.
feel bad.
No, it's not a composite.
Yeah.
It's not composite.
No.
Okay, it's interesting.
And some of the
I don't
sharp,
know how the bird is
Yeah.
sharper if the flowers are out of focus.
I think that bird is level with these front flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was close to the ground.
It was a composite.
It was close to the ground about this height.
Yeah. Okay.
Composite, they would have brought that bird in a little closer to the foreground.
All right, well, at any rate, when I zoomed in, it just looked like there were artifacts. So, okay, well, then scrap that review. That's why I asked first.
This is what's going to happen to you now.
I'm not doing this again for a while. I don't know what that is. I didn't pick one of
That
those.
is a plasma globe explosion, and I think it scared our judges away. Next is Frozen in Time, and that's Nick.
This is a very nice idea to freeze this rose in ice, and it works really well for me. Whilst the air bubbles are clearly trapped in the ice, it gives the appearance of the air bubbling up around the rose, and I quite like that suggestion of movement. The angle of the rose stem being slanted rather than straight, another strong point for me. It's quite bright at the top left, but actually I quite like that, and I don't think it distracts from the image at all. No, nice work, whoever did it.
Floating high. Is it legal in Mexico? Yeah, maybe.
Is what legal?
Floating high. This is
It's me.
you.
Yeah.
It's Cat.
That's why I said, should I give up at this point? Because mine looked like what yours looks like on the screen. It was very dark for me. I didn't even notice the pyramid at first. So, but yeah, up there, that lighting's gorgeous. I love that. It's dark for me. But anyway, my eyes are weird.
Maybe it's not the monitor.
Turn,
Maybe it's the viewer.
turn the brightness up on your monitor.
Oh.
So I love the colors and the sun, the sunset you have there. And it is hard to get something that time of the day without getting kind of silhouette effect, which you know, some monitors it kind of shows that darker foreground. And so, yeah, I just think it's a beautiful vantage point. I mean, getting a vantage point like that is really rare, like, especially for a balloon festival. Usually you're in the ground or in a balloon itself. Well, maybe that person lives in a balloon. But maybe they're on a mountain or something. So, that's a very unique shot. And I think it's, I think it's great. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Baby versus baby. Good timing. Oops. Leaves of grass. My new home. Old Faithful winding down. Tiger in the flowers. Nick.
Yep. This is a really nice botanical shot. The detail and the clarity around the stamen of the centre flower is really good, and it really draws my eye into the picture. The fact there are a few other colours around, and greens and purples, adds to the impact for me. I'm a little distracted by the yellow out of focus flower in the bottom centre. I wonder if that could be burned so it's less prominent, whilst retaining those yellow hues to set off the other elements. I guess one suggestion I might make is to remove the green leaf that just pokes into the bottom left-hand corner. That's a little distracting as it's quite bright, but nice shot.
Freezing rain. Sunset at the causeway. Jane.
That is mine, yes. This is a lovely sunset scene with the warm golden light playing on the rocks and the water and the sky. And the way that the foreground rocks are highlighted really kind of catches my eye and engages me, because it leads my gaze to wander directly into the sun, then off to the rightmost darkened point of the jetty, and then back again to the foreground. So it's kind of a fun visual trick for me to go, you know, out, left, you know, out, right, and back. It's really cool. However, when I look into the finer details, it's unclear to me what the person in the center is doing or holding. I'm guessing a camera. The other folks just sort of look like they're randomly arranged. The placement of the people is okay with me, but I was trying to look for an action or a story of what the people were doing, only to come up with randomness. So in terms of improvement, I could only suggest minor items such as checking into the blending, the orange shading on the blue water, especially around the leftmost rock in the water, and maybe around the two people to the right of the sun. I think this is a great shot because it took good patience in waiting for the right lighting and the right moment for an image that keeps my eye continually enjoying and wandering within the scene.
Okay. Great. Pretty in pink. Penelope. And Ferropolis, Tower 2. That's Eugene.
All right. Very creative arrangement. It's got good focus and highlights on those brass colored round objects on the lower left. I like the leading line created from the bottom left all the way to the top of the tower. So Ferropolis, as I looked it up, means city of iron. So this creation coordinates well with the title. That low angle of view contributes to making the tower look larger than life. Good use of lighting regarding the contrasting red and green color combinations. The keys and the lightning bolts have me thinking about the discovery of electricity, the progress of industrialized nations. And also when I see lightning bolts and keys, I start thinking Benjamin Franklin and his kite, but that's just the American in me. So in terms of overall composition, I enjoy the green vacuum tube bits at the bottom. And as you sweep up and toward the top, that lightning bolt jolt, and it serves as kind of a good surprise for my eye to follow at the end. And given that, in terms of improvement, I consider making the lightning bolts just a little bit more out of focus and more in line with the focus of the top of the tower, or the other way around. So this is an excellent image that showcases creativity and lighting as well as a good story.
Okay. And there we have the intermediate class. So let's see what the judges decided. Okay. So I think we had some ties here. Maybe, we'll see. Okay. Nope, there were no ties. No, excuse me. Honorable mention goes to Donna Smith for Penelope. That is one cute fawn. Very sharp detail. I love it. Honorable mention, Baby versus Baby, Dave DeVore,
What's in the mouth?
the turtle,
That's what I thought.
And which way is the turtle facing?
That'd be hard to
head
eat.
first.
Head
Yeah.
first. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
marinated about an hour.
I mean,
Like, ouch.
oh, really?
Oh.
Oh,
He had a whole series of shots of that fight. Yeah.
well,
And then brought back his mama, and then the mama turtle ate the bird. It got really, really hideous.
that is really capturing the moment anyway.
More than a moment, you brought his mom back. Turtles don't travel fast.
That's true.
Except the snails.
Third place goes to
So gorgeous.
William Ling for showing off.
Like a painting. I love that. It's cool. Yeah.
Second place, The Coast is Clear, Donna Smith.
Birds.
Yeah, very cool. And first place, William Ling, 32.9 cents a gallon. Very cool.
Do you want me to read comments again?
I'm glad I don't need to calibrate.
Do we have PSHs?
You know what?
Mine looks like this.
And the reason you couldn't work out the vantage point in the hot air balloon shot, which was mine, is because I was hanging out of the hot air balloon with an iPhone.
That's fine. I was wondering.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it could have been a balloon.
There's 50 balloons.
People's Choice coming up.
Awesome. I've never seen some of these photos ahead of time, yeah.
Okay, so here we have some ties on People's Choice. Get this out of the way. I think we had a three-way tie for bronze. So we've got Roberta White out on a limb. Really cool. Almost thought it was an alligator for a second.
I know.
Mm.
That would be on wall.
Yeah. The baby versus baby, also a tie for bronze. Dave DeVore. And 32.9 cents a gallon. William Ling, also tied for bronze. The silver goes to Frozen in Time for Patrick St. Cyr. And the People's Choice Gold Medal goes to Roberta White for
Totally
Pretty in
different.
Pink.
That's totally different.
Nicely done. Okay. We're going to move on to the advanced category.
Yeah, when you judge, it tells you what they use too, what camera they use. It's not like.
And as most of you know, the advanced category is judged by a judge from the Photographic Society of America. Did that wrong. We'll go back to select competition.
Yeti good. No, it's made by Yeti. Yeah, Yeti good. Okay.
I have blue mine,
Yeah, blue Yeti.
Okay.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
The judges' comments are posted online. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through these images and then we'll run through them again with the critique next to it. And since they're small, Josh, you can read them when they come up. Okay. They'll just be right here. I don't know if, unless people can read them easily. You can go off mine.
I don't want to get that close.
Please select a competition. All right. Select a competition. Open, advanced. Now show. All right. 16 images in this group. Blood flower moon. Let's try and slow that down a little bit. Deadpool. Smile. Yellow and blue. Flight of the whooping crane. Cavern of meditation. Widow of the water. Fortress in the sky. Like a fantasy. I missed that title. What was that? Quasi una fantasia, like a fantasy balloon festival. Sunset at Caddo Lakes. Clouds over Kenai, Alaska. Splendor. Audrey.
Yeah, I know where you get that.
It's gonna be real dangerous when they start getting named after members of photo club.
What was that, a pigeon?
Josh, ooh, that's a bad photo.
A pigeon among the lines. Big brown bear running for dinner or something like that. Running at you. Running for dinner. Fatal attraction. All right, so now we will go through these again with the judge's comments.
Somebody makes them work out their title game.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna do this. Hopefully this works.
You don't have to read, right?
No, you guys can read that, can't you?
You want me to read them? No.
Radio voice, radio.
Radio voice. The moon dazzled observers as it turned red during a total lunar eclipse, a phenomenon that occurs when the entire moon passes through the darkest part of the Earth's shadow. Very creative and told a good story.
I'll warn you that the comments were very brief this month.
Brevity is the soul of it. Good use of light. Images crispy sharp. Crispy sharp. Like Rice Krispie sharp. And well focused. Excellent macro photography skills.
Is it crispy, sharp, and well focused all the same thing?
No, sharpening and focus, right? It could be sharpened, but not in focus.
Oh, that's true, okay.
Crispy was pushing it too far.
Yeah.
No, that's crunchy.
Or that's crunchy, okay.
But wouldn't it be crisply, not crispy?
Yeah,
Crispy,
yeah, you're right.
Crunch lasts longer.
It's crispy.
Unless we're talking about like Count Choco crisp or something.
Yeah, if you're doing all these fine distinctions, you go back to my wife's here.
Brand grammatically, probably crispy. I think there was about 10 years.
All right. This is an excellent image and conveyed a good story. The image is well in sync with the title. The only critique was the over blurred background that does not match the transition of the depth of field. Perhaps use a smaller aperture to bring the details of the owl in the background. Don't do any of that. It's great the way it is.
I think
Yeah.
it is
Don't
too.
listen to the judge on that one. If you're
Yeah.
listening, that's terrible advice.
It was blurring.
It's a telephoto lens.
Yeah, it just means the background was far away. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Yellow and blue.
Excellent use of complementary colors, agreed. The emotions were and wasn't, all right. Then the emotions was invoked, were invoked. The emotions invoked the strategic color placement. Yeah, it's better. when
We're
I say-
invoked by.
No, the emotions invoked the strategic color placement.
Oh,
We can take out like 8 words in that
Okay,
sentence.
give me, yeah, that's weird.
I think the strategic color placement evoked the
Well, good thing
emotion.
that judge isn't here.
Yeah, if she watches this later, man, I'm gonna be in trouble. That's why it's more fun in person, right? Come on, come on. All
You're
right.
right.
So we do it so regularly on our.
The image is well focused and really sharp. Not crispy sharp, though, just really sharp. Excellent panning technique. I mean, kind of. I mean, yes, but anyway, I would less crop a little bit to include more background to introduce more story. Don't do that either.
I would crop the back of what.
The only thing I would change is the head above the horizon line. The head against the horizon, that's your only,
Oh, yeah.
right, just bird like a foot up.
But there's,
Fly higher bird.
Well,
Or go down.
the other good thing about this crop is that there's room for the bird to fly into versus the other way where it's running into the wall of the window.
Right side's a little tight.
It's just little feet back there. It's fine.
really nice light on the bird's head, though.
Oh.
Another sunny day.
The overall exposure looks great and the image is sharp. Man, really concerned about sharpness. I especially appreciate the good handle of color usage. The backlight provide a highlight of Keystone.
The stone?
These stuff.
By the power of Grayskull. Thank you for getting that one. Yeah, I'm guessing. Yeah, I know. It's okay.
Okay.
Fix the English first.
I gotta read it first in my head, then to say it the right way. Told a great story, good composite. There were some sparkles in the upper center, however, not giving enough information, which made confusion and distraction. No, that's the good part. It is supposed to be ethereal and sparkly, and you're not supposed to know everything in this one. Let the viewer work. Yeah.
She gave me a senator, told me I was king of England.
No, yeah.
But it was the wrong sword.
Oh, what a retard hitting your sword. There's no basis for a form of government.
Okay.
Slow shutter motion tells a good story of movement.
There you go.
That plane looks like it's about to blow up.
Oh my, she liked this one.
All right. Johnson said, roll them sleeves up. Very interesting story with good creativity. However, please take the atmospheric perspective into the consideration. It occurs when tiny particles of dust and moisture cause the scattering of light. The amount that the light is scattered is dependent on its wavelength, which corresponds to the color of the light. Because blue light has the shortest wavelength that scatters the most, causing distant objects to take on an ever-increasing blue cast. This also further reduces the contrast as the scene becomes more distant.
Huh?
I think she just copied and pasted something. Well, that was great.
I don't
All right.
understand, didn't you want?
I have a
blue?
question. If the person who shot this, is this a whole bunch of composites or is this one frame?
It could be one frame.
I think it's a bunch of composites
Why?
Look.
I think it's.
because none of the balloons are touching. There's no overlap.
Spacing is too perfect.
It's too perfect. If you look at the bottom, you see a lot of artifacting going on, which comes about
Well,
from.
the red one, the devil is not even in sunlight, it's shaded.
I think it's a composite. What do you think? Raise your hands. Composite?
I'm gonna go.
Who thinks it's one frame?
Yeah, there's no sun on the penguin, it is a composite.
It's a composite, right?
The sun's different on every balloon. Yeah.
And this looks like it's at a different angle.
That's in a shade,
Yeah.
interesting.
Composite.
I agree with the composite. I wish, but this reads like something that they got out of an art history class.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But what is she saying about the blue? I like the blue balloons.
I don't know. The blue looks
more
great.
things are, the more blue they get because of the way the light disperses from the atmosphere.
You get more blue shadows.
Yeah, it's like the dehaze entry in Lightroom, where it explains why it
Okay.
works.
Each balloon has been layered.
Yeah, each balloon's a layer mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then brought back down.
Yeah, I think you can see like in the lower right, you start seeing some of the artifacting from where it happened. But if you look at the blue and yellow one on the top left, the angle of that one doesn't match the angle of the pig right next to it. The balloons are like at different angles. So
Yeah,
they're taking a different time than composite.
well, and also the sunlight's different.
Now, as a composite, really cool.
Yeah. Yes.
Just because it's composite doesn't, I don't mean it as a pejorative. Like I think it's really neat. Like it's pleasant to the viewer to look at.
This is a controversy that this looks like an illustrated work, which apparently turns off at least part of our membership. So, but it's really cool.
My brain didn't see this one, and I saw one that wasn't there, so hey. My composite feeler is off.
So let me talk about composites real quick because I know it's been an issue. My general theory, you don't have to listen to it, but you don't have to follow it. But if it could have been taken with the camera on a tripod at one time, like I think that's a better case than like pulling in like a sunset from the West Coast and an East Coast foreground, right? So like
I like to consider this as a purely illustrated work, as opposed to, it could be real.
Right. Well, like the moon at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Obviously a composite, right? We don't have 9 moons, right? But it was cool, right? It was good, right? Did it tell a story? Yeah. But this one could have been shot this way, and the camera may not have moved. Right? It could have been done in one photo.
Well, not with those shadows though.
It's pretty easy to get multiple sizes like that.
Yeah, but look how much overlap there is.
There is, but I'm just saying, I look at another one that had much less overlap.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, the Aladdin in the lower left corner is that, and the Justice.
That's brighter.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at 2 next to it, the perspective is like, one's this way, one's that way.
It's a composite, but given the way they sit up there.
Yeah.
What I usually do is I will remove things. If it's busy, if I want to get something like that, but it's really easy to get something
Oh,
that
yeah,
busy.
yeah, that's right.
The biggest problem with it is
Vibrance, not saturation. Saturation overloads the color channels. Yeah, I'm with you. All right, anyway, sorry. I know that was a whole big digression, but
Okay, all right, continue.
all right, we're gonna continue with this fun visual language challenge. The details of the image were not there.
What? Well, we'll tell the distracting edge element. and
Well,
beauty
the high,
adjustment.
I mean, you can see the highlights were blown out. They tried to recover them. And so the reason this is important, if you try to make a print here, so imagine printing this on metallic luster or something that had like a material on it, you would get what we call an ink desert, where the printer wouldn't lay down ink, and then you're gonna get some like weird splotches in the print. So to me, that's one reason that it matters is you can see like right in the center and at the top of the ridge where that fog was rolling over, it looks like it was recovered, but it didn't recover all the way, so it's blown out. And so it's just be careful you're making a print that you'll get some that have like ink and then no ink, and then you get weird like splotchy, not splotchy on the print. But
Also all over
yeah, right there.
sharpening bands.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
Mark, I think you skipped one. You skipped the kind of like.
Oh, that's a crappy picture anyway.
Everyone make Josh read all that.
Well-rounded color, especially appreciated the atmosphere and the composition of the reflection. I understood not using a slower speed to preserve the clearness of the reflection. However, I would suggest lower the speed to improve the darkness of the trees. I mean, shutter speed is one of 3 ways you can darken the trees. We could also lower the ISO or darken the aperture or shutter speed, right?
Don't the trees dark enough?
Or in Lightroom, just go shadows down or blacks down or S curve down.
Just some details.
I like the way it is.
Yeah.
Y'all are learning, this is good. Good.
Sorry about that.
Don't let me read that.
Did not mean to skip that. Next.
Sharp image, flow of the water invokes good moods. All right. Disco Stews here, baby, good moods.
Oh my God, that's funny.
The coolest part about this one is the crooked light, right? That light coming across in a crooked way.
What's in the middle? I thought it was a crab or something. It's just leaves,
It sticks and leaves.
this little thing there.
It almost looks like studio lit, the way like it looks like there's like a softbox right above that.
It's pretty.
It's really cool.
That's cool.
Audrey.
Excellent creativity, double exclamation point, which is how my wife writes emails.
How is this done? Just light somehow to create it?
The easiest way to do that is using the glow filter in Topaz Labs.
Nah,
The glow filter.
yeah, it was a plant, it was a
Oh.
flower that. Yeah, probably a flower, like a chrysanthemum or something that was like,
It's white.
okay, a what?
Night blooming cereus.
Okay,
And if you put much light on it, it closes.
interesting, interesting.
All right.
So it's the time exposure.
Cool.
Yeah, I can't read that at all.
I mean, it's
The
like,
focus was on the right part of the chords and the main subject was led to be less focus.
I don't know.
Basically, you're focusing on the right side, not the bird, is what she's saying.
No, I think it's talking about the negative space,
That's
that
where
the
your eyes
subject
go.
is on the left and not in the center. Good use of negative space and then putting a subject in the negative space. Also rule of odds going on here, right? We have 3 cables. And then we also have 3 sections vertical, right? So we have a tile 1, glass 1, concrete 1, and then we have line 1, line 2, line 3, and then we have 1 bird. So rule of odds. And then the subject is in a non-traditional space, in the negative space. There you go.
Hey, didn't know it was so easy.
You can just skip this.
The image is showing
Because of whose it is.
control and the composition is
I-
constructed with space and separation. That would increase the speed as the bear is playing with water, increase the speed to 1/3000 plus, and the water splash will be clearer and more crisp.
Even though cameras don't go to 1/3000, they go to 1/3200, 2500. No, 3000.
2000 from 4000.
Right. Oh, we're in
Can
photo.
we get feedback on this particular reviewer?
Yeah, I will do that.
Oh, you want me to like right now or like to send it? Okay.
That's my job. The person who assigns them asks for feedback and I will take care of that.
Image is well
It's
composed,
what?
great story.
It's sharp.
Lots of sharp, excellent exclamation point.
I can just imagine like a double exclamation point, like double pistols, like Shooter McGavin.
But it's sharp, not crisp or well focused.
Not crispy. So let's talk about this for a second though. Like, I think this idea that sharpness is like the #1 thing in the photo, it's maybe like 15th. Story, drama, emotion, light, color, impact, 5 other things, sharpness, right? Some of the best photos you've ever seen aren't sharp. There's an amazing photo of Frank Sinatra and John F. Kennedy playing poker one night, and it's shot at like 1/15th of a second, and it's blurry. Great photo, because it was the only way to get that photo at the time, right? It still told the story. So I think I see it happen a lot with judges and reviewers. This idea that like technical perfection somehow makes the story better. It's really the other way around. It's like, what's the story you're trying to sell it? What's the story you're trying to sell? And does the technical support the story? Does that make more sense? So I know that a lot of the judges and reviewers kind of lean on that as a way to talk about the photo. But with this story title, right? Like Fatal Attraction, like right, it's a funny thing. So you see it, if you don't laugh a little bit when you see a moth to a flame, like it evoked laughter, like it did its job, like that's what it was trying to do. It honestly, it could be a foot out of focus and it would still be funny, right? So now it'd be better if it was, but like,
Maybe your foot.
well,
I think it's sad.
Well, the real funny
it took me a second to make sure you were kidding. Like, oh no, I stepped over a line.
Half more inch, he's dead.
the funny part is it's an LED light, and not fine.
Oh, that's right.
This is really about energy usage in America, right? But I think
Saving the laws of the world, what?
No, the fatal attraction is the lights taking out our astrophotography at night.
yeah. So I think as we get more and more like people, so like as we all graduate into intermediate and then up to advanced, right? Technical should be less of, that should kind of go away. Like they should be technically pretty good, right? You're an intermediate advanced, like it's assumed that you know the technical. So to me, what separates these photos are like impact, emotion, drama, story, right? That should be your goal, less about making technically perfect. So are there any dentists in here? Okay, I'll shut up.
I really like the image. I like the use of negative space and
Yeah.
how it's, and it's sharp.
Crispy.
I'm confused on the story
It
thing.
really tells a story.
I'm kind of confused on this. I can kind of see the story here. But how do you explain story? Sometimes it's just a beautiful photo, or it's a bird, it's a plane.
Did you listen to her, man?
Maybe instead of story, substitute the word gesture. Because like even a building or an old piece of wood or something
Yeah.
can kind of have a gesture or some sort of a feeling that's invoked through it. And so maybe you can use gesture as a substitute or another way of saying story or stuff.
I will tell you that when I hear critiques of my photos, I want a strong reaction, and I don't care if it's good or bad. I just care that they have a strong reaction. The worst thing you could say about something I submit is,
Okay.
the fact that I would submit something that introduced no drama and no emotion, like that kills me. But if you're like, I hate this, you should have done this, and this, I'm like, yeah. Or you love it, right? But I'll take that extreme because at least it got inside you. Right. I think it's better to swing for the fences, take some chances, and lead for drama and a story or emotion or something, right? Any of those. It doesn't have to have all of them, but something, right? The snail one last month. The slow motion snail, fantastic, right? That was so funny. Like I saw it when I was judging it, and I almost fell out of my chair. Like I was like, "That's brilliant." And so it's just taking all that was the difference between 1/200 and 1/10 of a second. Just that one little change of technical, but the technical told the story, right? Was it sharp? I don't know. It didn't matter. Like that was like the least of my concern with that. So I think just as a goal of like aspirational goal, like can you make an impact? Can you get a chuckle? Can you make the crowd go, ooh, right? Right? If you're doing a sunset, like do you have a foreground, right? Do we have a bird? Do we have action? Do we have something going on, right? The reason that owl one was good, the gesture of it, right? There was a smiling owl, like that's cool. You don't want more trees in focus. Like out of focus was good, it was on the subject.
Yeah.
And so, that's what we're going for, right?
I think she implied or straight out said she didn't think it looked realistic, but I don't agree with that.
I don't either.
Me either.
Yeah.
If you would have not blurred the background, it would have been like blah.
But it just points up what we always tell you at every one of these competitions. And even the judges will tell me that in their side comments. It's one person's opinion.
Yeah.
I will tell you I'll go even further than that. It's one person's opinion on that day.
Yeah, good point.
I have judged a lot. There's times that I judge on a Tuesday and I come back and the order that I ranked them in on the Tuesday when I submitted them is different than how I feel about them on a Thursday when I see them. So it's not even that it's just one judge. It's that judge at that hour at that day. Okay. Please don't take. I think the way to read judges is never listen to your own photos critiques and when you see the photo, try to guess what a judge would say about it. And that's going to build your learning skill more than hearing about your own photo, because your own photo, you're tied up into it, your ego's tied into it. And we're automatically more defensive about our own photos than we are about other people's. And so the way to learn is looking at the other 50 photos that were submitted this competition and tune out when they come to you. Get your ego out of it so that you can learn and grow. I can tell you that I don't shoot birds very often, but because I've seen so many bird photographers and heard so much criticism and critique and building on them, that when I go out to shoot birds, I'm way better than if I never listened to people talk about it. So if my focus was only on my photos, my bird photos would be way worse. They're already pretty bad, but they'd even be worse. But now when I go out, I'm already hearing what the judges would say about other people's bird photos. Like, oh, I should think about this thing, or that one little detail that I wouldn't think about until later. So really, we move faster as a group. And when you focus on the group, you're going to get better faster than if you just come in and are just waiting to hear the two things about your own photos.
Well, it's different because like a judge will say something's distracting. I'm like, where is it? What? Like I don't see anything distracting. Like, oh, that's what they're talking about. Or, something stands out to me and they're like, oh, I love that. I'm like, well, I would change it, So everyone has their own. It's amazing how we all have something different to say about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna see what the judges' picks were.
And we don't know the photographer's view, what they're intending to do to the shot.
Okay, so why we have second place?
Tied for second.
Oh, they're actually, they're three-way tie for second on this one, I think.
Wow.
Second place, Stephen Burkich for Flight of the Whooping Crane. Whoop, whoop. Cool image.
Cool image, yes.
A lot of,
It's a composite.
Each feather's composited.
Splendor, that was Cheryl Callan. Okay. Cheryl Callan, and there's no animal in it. Well, that's,
That we know of.
that's spectacular.
I
I just love the colors
yeah,
here.
the colors are great.
Shutter speed was dead on and,
Yeah.
yeah.
These types of photos are super easy to blow out the water because the water's picking up the light, and the longer you go, it turns white. And so shutter speed is super well controlled here.
And Cheryl Callan with smile.
That's hilarious.
We're good. World right again.
Hilarious.
And first place, Big Brown Bear running for dinner, Lewis, Philadelphia.
At first course, that was her judging.
Yeah.
So what's interesting, like the comments were all over the place. But
Yeah.
pretty good job of ranking the photos, right? Like yeah.
Let's see how our people's.
Yeah.
No.
So you want to know, huh?
I mean, from that set, they might be in a slightly different order, but those are all probably the podium photos, right?
Let's see.
Depends, because sometimes you're in a bird, you're in animal mood, sometimes. You're in animal mood.
I think we had another tie on this one.
Sometimes
Was
it's
this
always
people's
animals
choice?
at the top.
So
That's gorgeous, yeah. That
bronze,
should've made it.
So
Sunset at Caddo Lake,
Oh.
Lewis, Philadelphia.
too much for
You
me.
guys haven't been there,
Blue,
really,
yeah.
really should go.
Yeah.
And it has that perfect color combination.
Did you go with a guide or on your own?
We found, a friend of mine came out from San Diego and, we just went online, found a guy, and he took us out in his pontoon boat. He lives right on the swamp.
I mean,
And he was very reasonably priced and he stayed in an Airbnb, so it's
Nice.
not a horribly expensive
I'm
trip.
gonna get some.
There are a lot of workshops that have all of a sudden have found cattle.
Yeah, yeah.
Some are going out in their own kayaks, some are pontoon boats, just, we went out on a pontoon boat, just the two of us and him. And, it worked great.
See a lot of alligators?
They were hibernating this time of year.
Oh, that's what I
When did you, what time of year did you go?
It's second week in November.
Okay, yeah, I thought
I
that's,
was hoping for
yeah.
fog, but we never saw it, unfortunately, so we're going back.
This is night, evening or morning?
This is sunset.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but the silhouette is a silhouette, it doesn't have to be black.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I like.
okay.
Then they bring up the shadows, if you did that, so.
Okay, so Cattle Lake.
Okay. Bloodflower Moon, Dave McGuire,
Yeah, cool.
another tie for bronze.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's well done. I mean,
If you squint, it looks like a Medusa head.
yeah,
Like a head with like Medusa snakes around it. Squint a little bit.
whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard that one before.
I was thinking of Lion King's head. Is that Medusa?
Silver goes to Dave McGuire for Audrey.
Somebody's got to ask Dave why it's called Audrey. Oh, it's a flower from
Little Flower
Oh.
Feed me, Seymour.
Yeah, yeah, I got it.
Once you got it, I thought you got that at first.
I got it. I got it.
And gold medal goes to Lewis, Philadelphia for bear running for dinner.
The fact that the bear's coming straight at you, like how soon after that do you bail on the shot? Like
Yeah.
you're holding it, you're like, all right, I gotta go.
Unfortunately, he was coming at us straight on, a distance away, use a big photo.
How big of a telephoto?
Probably 500.
That's not that big. That's not that big.
2,500. It's tough to get them coming straight at you.
Yeah.
You know, sideways. The technical aspect was difficult because it was totally overcast and rainy and drizzly.
It doesn't look like it.
If I shot it at 3,000 of a second, I'd still be shooting it. I mean, it just not enough light.
I kind of like the idea that it's tough to get them to come right at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems like a feature, not a bug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're saying it was technically difficult, and how many shots did you do before you're like, yeah, we gotta bail?
Hey, we still got an audience out there. Hi, everybody.
How did they hear? How will it come through for them?
It's okay. I had to change one setting on the mic, but we got it. We got it. All right. Ooh, don't leave the meeting. Everybody good? Any questions? Awesome. Let's do it again.
What? Do we have
We have
conflict next?
What's that?
July.
The speaker is
July.
gonna be online, right?
Speakers online, yeah, it's David Akubia.
Okay. Then the July meeting, do we know yet? If,
No, I will find that out.
seems like there was a conflict for.
Well, it's 4th of July.
Oh,
Week.
Yeah, so we'll figure something out, but just stay tuned to your email. We're going here month to month until Three-Legged Goat is ready. And they were working on it today, so hopefully soon, then we can drink at these.
It's the 7th of July. I mean, is there a problem with the first week of July?
That's when the judging gets.
And we'll figure it out.
Oh, I forgot, that's what I wanted to do, is get a group together to do fireworks shots.
Oh,
So in your
yeah.
house.
Share an ending,
Yeah, so I just do that?
over at Was Brand.
Yeah.
It's a great, they have a great show every year. Every year.
Maybe I'll just ask her, if she's serious. That's the fireworks, remember?
I haven't seen it for a
We can
while.
bring some drinks and stuff. And stuff.
July theme is rainbows.
Yep.
good night, everybody.
That was this one.